Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for the warm welcome. I appreciate it. I'm so happy to be here today to talk about eating well during cancer treatment. The purpose of today's workshop are to identify nutrition challenges resulting from cancer treatment, determine optimal nutrition intake during cancer treatment. We're going to specify the physical risks of untreated nutrition challenges. We're going to develop and discuss some practical tips to overcome those challenges. And then at the end, we're going to have some fun and demonstrate a high calorie, high protein smoothie. There's many physical and nutrition challenges that result from cancer treatments, depending on if it's chemo, radiation, immunotherapy, or surgery. Each treatment is going to present its own particular risk and challenge. Some of them overlap, and so hopefully after the end of today's workshop, you'll be a little bit more confident in understanding all the risks and all the challenges and some practical tips that you can use to overcome those challenges. So the reality of actually feeling well enough to engage in optimal eating patterns is greatly reduced, right, due to the side effects of treatment. So the nutrition challenges are common during treatment and even after treatment because they can prevent somebody from feeling well enough to be able to take in an optimal amount of calories, protein, vitamins, and minerals, which can actually put people at risk for developing further long-term complications. So some of the side effects include weight loss resulting from loss of appetite, or maybe just feeling really full really fast. And then also just feeling fatigued and just super tired. Difficulty swallowing, difficulty chewing, and taste changes are also common side effects of treatment. And so again, just really keeping in mind that each treatment is going to present their own particular challenges. So other challenges include GI issues such as nausea, vomiting, constipation, and also diarrhea. And again, when we talk about optimal nutrition during treatment, we really want to keep in mind that one of the top priorities during treatment, whatever that treatment is to really maintain weight or address weight loss sooner rather than later, because we need to really preserve the body's stores of calories, protein, vitamins, and minerals needed to withstand treatment, to heal, and to ultimately recover. So even before treatment starts, it's really going to be important to keep in mind that bodies and minds that are well nourished with enough calories, have the ability to really withstand the physical and, the emotional effects of treatment. So really focusing on increased calories from carbs, proteins, and fats. And we'll talk about what that means later on. Focusing on high calorie, high protein foods or supplements to really get ahead of the anticipated weight loss or to address weight loss if that happens immediately. Adequate vitamins and minerals, eating frequently throughout the day, and maintaining adequate hydration is going to be important when you think about the term optimal nutrition during treatment. And again, the purpose on focusing on eating well during treatment is to maintain physical strength and energy so that you have the physical strength and energy to prepare meals or to eat. Again, to maintain weight and nutrient stores, and to prevent or correct weight loss as soon as possible, to promote healing and faster recovery, to prevent and lower the risk of infection from being malnourished, and also for tissue repair and tissue building that can break down during treatment. So we aren't going to spend a lot of time on, discussing carbs, proteins, and fats, but it's important that you just understand that food is either going to be a carb, protein, and a fat, or a fat. So when you hear the terms like, you really need to work on increasing your protein or adding fats to carbohydrates, you have kind of a general understanding of what those foods are and what that means. So carbs consist of starches. So think of your grain products like cereal, bread, rice, pasta, crackers, tortillas. Those are all considered starches. Fruits, including whole fruits, frozen fruits, canned fruits, and also juices are considered carbs. Vegetables that are starchy, so potatoes, corns, and peas, those are all considered to be starchy vegetables that count as carbs. Also, cow's milk and yogurt are considered to be carbohydrate foods. Protein foods are either going to be plant-based or animal-based, which we'll talk about in the next slide. And then fats are consisting of your oils, avocados, nuts and seeds, nut butters, butter, gravy, and sour cream. So patients with cancer typically need more protein than usual in order to heal tissues and fight infection. Protein is key for ensuring that you're giving your body the necessary amino acids, vitamins, and minerals that come with having enough protein in order to promote and improve immune health, strength, and also wound healing. Having enough protein pre and post treatment is really important to withstand the effects of treatment and to also promote a speedy recovery. So plant-based proteins are going to include your legume family, so think beans, peas, and lentils. Any nuts or nut butters are plant-based proteins. Tofu, tempeh, quinoa, edamame, and also there are certain nutrition supplements such as powders or liquid that are plant-based. And then your animal-based protein are gonna come from anything that comes from an animal, right? So chicken, beef, seafood, eggs, cow's milk, dairy, and then also nutrition supplements, powdered form or liquid form that are made with, with dairy. So if you're able to eat regularly with no side effects from treatment, taking in foods that have enough antioxidants, phytochemicals, water, fluid isn't going to be a problem. But with the probable side effects, there needs to be a little bit of creativity, when it comes to ensuring that your body is getting enough. So think of changing, maybe the textures of certain foods, adding pureed fruits and veggies into soups, casseroles, smoothies, or sauces. And then if you think that you could benefit from a multivitamin, definitely have that conversation with your oncologist. And so antioxidants are going to be something that are contained in lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and legumes. And those foods are going to contain vitamins A, C, E, selenium, and zinc, which are considered to be antioxidants and very important during treatment. Phytochemicals are another focus food that are found in the coloring of fruits and vegetables. So having a variety of colorful fruits and veggies in your diet are going to provide enough phytochemicals. But again, if it's difficult to eat, that's where the creativity comes in to make sure that you're getting enough antioxidants and phytochemicals. And then also water and fluids are going to be important to focus on making sure that you don't become dehydrated. So focusing on at least 8 ounce glasses of water a day, soups, milk, jello, ice cream, anything that is liquid at room temperature counts toward your fluid goal for the day. So what are some specific ideas to address weight loss or to get ahead of the weight loss in attempts to prevent further weight loss during treatment? And what are some things we can do to talk about to preserve as much muscle tissue as possible? So the foods that you see up here that we're going to talk about contain fat as well, which is where a big portion of the additional calories are going to be coming from. So for example, we can think about using milk in place of water for hot cereals or for other recipes like pancakes, waffles, and muffins that call for water. Instead of water, we can put milk in there. and whole milk ideally. Using cheese to add to sandwiches, wraps, vegetables, eggs, and potatoes. Using the full fat cheese, not like a reduced or a non-fat, because we want to get as much calories as possible. Eggs, so cooked eggs, we can add those to salads or to casseroles or eat alone, or use it like as a spread on toast. And then recipes that call for eggs, you can just add an extra egg or two in there. So some other foods that we can use to increase both calories and protein are going to be nut butters. So those could be added to shakes, to smoothies, to toast, to hot cereals, to crackers even, and to fruit, and also to fruit slices. Getting creative with supplement recipes such as, like Ensure Plus or Boost, using those supplements in place of like water or even milk in a smoothie is going to increase and bump up the calorie and the protein content. And protein powder can be used that same way, although some protein powders don't really have a lot of calories. And so that's something that, really needs to be looked at on an individual basis, depending on what your needs are. And these are foods that add calories from fat, but not so much, from protein. So gravies can be added to meats, rice, and potatoes. Butter, oils, and sour cream can be added to your starches. So, they can be added to rices, hot cereals, potatoes, eggs, casseroles, or veggies even. And then avocado can be added to toast, to sandwiches, or even to smoothies, or can be eaten alone. And also dried fruit is something simple that can be added to hot cereals. Sweetened condensed milk can be added to smoothies or to hot cereals if it's easier to drink rather than eat. And then ice cream can be enjoyed alone or in a shake to up the calories in those particular foods. And then again, nutrition supplements could be an option. Okay, so what does all that look like sort of put together? What would a balanced, tasty meal high in calories look like? So here are some examples. So breakfast, and of course the textures of these foods could always be modified just depending on your particular needs. But an example of a high calorie meal would be pancakes with butter and syrup, scrambled eggs cooked in olive oil with melted cheese on top, and a fruit smoothie made with either whole milk or a nutrition supplement. A lunch example would be, a burrito with chicken, beans and rice with cheese and sour cream inside, a whole avocado, and then some zucchini with melted cheese. Keeping in mind that, if it's difficult to chew the tortilla, then, you could eat the things on the side and then figure out a way to bring in, that additional starch that would be missing that way. Dinner idea would be, a turkey cheeseburger with mayo, avocado, and veggies, a baked potato with butter, sour cream, and cheese. And then again, another fruit smoothie made with either whole milk or a nutrition supplement. Some high calorie snack ideas include toast with butter and nut butter, whole milk yogurt and trail mix, maybe a turkey and cheese sandwich with avocado and mayo, fruit smoothie made with nut butter and whole milk or a nutrition supplement, and then pudding made with whole milk and a banana. Okay. So loss of appetite is such a common concern, with treatment. So, what do you do if you have all these great ideas, but you really just don't have any desire to eat or you get full really quickly? So one of the things that's important is to focus maybe on 6 smaller meals a day. Focus on your favorite foods and really go for those foods that are high in calories and protein, so that at least when you're eating, you're getting enough calories or close to it and enough protein to preserve your muscle, and to also give you what you need in order to recover and to heal. So, and then also really utilizing nutrient and calorie rich shakes Sometimes people find that it's easier to drink than it is to actually chew food and to eat, and that it takes less energy to do that. And that's a perfectly fine option, as well. And then if you're permitted, moving, exercise, any kind of moving can help stimulate the appetite as well, if that's a safe option for you. So fatigue is a common concern, a challenge that can contribute, to weight loss and to eating. And so keeping in mind that increased nutrition will eventually help with fatigue. If you're sleeping more than normal, it could be helpful at this time to just focus on, like 3 larger meals. Maybe think about setting a timer and alarm for meals and snacks. Definitely focusing on those high calorie foods and reaching out to family or friends for meal support. Also, something you could do is keeping meals in the freezer. If you like stews and soups, if you or a family or a friend can prepare that in several batches, keep it in the freezer or the fridge, that could be helpful when it comes to mealtime prep as well. So difficulty swallowing could be due to mouth sores, dry mouth, or like a lot of thick saliva, which could make it incredibly difficult to swallow foods or certain types of liquids. So the recommendations would be to avoid tough, coarse, or rough foods, like toast, popcorn, granola, or tough meats. Really avoiding acidic, salty, or spicy foods or drinks is going to be important. And considering cool foods like pudding, jello, ice cream, popsicles, or shakes could be a little bit easier to swallow for some people. Adding sauces and gravies to foods to make the food go down a little bit smoother and easier is an idea. And then aiming for soft and smooth textures of foods in order to encourage proper swallowing and intake. So think like puddings, ice cream, shakes, mashed potatoes, baby food, pureed foods of that consistency could be really helpful. So then, dry mouth could be due again to mouth sores, which could make it easier to swallow, or lack of saliva production. And so the recommendations, would be similar to on the previous slide. Also sucking on hard candy or frozen grapes or ice chips to kind of stimulate some saliva production, is going to be helpful as well. So difficulty chewing, can be a huge problem. So thinking about soft and smooth textures, chopped or pureed foods, consistency of baby food, adding sauces and gravies to foods are going to be helpful with, promoting an easier intake if it's difficult to chew. Focusing on liquid calories is going to be a big one. Utilizing the nutrition shakes and some of the higher calorie and protein options that we discussed. And of course, avoiding tough, coarse, or tough meats, things like popcorn, toast, and granola. Definitely want to avoid those things. Okay. So nausea and vomiting are common as well. So you really want to make sure that you're focusing on easily digestible foods, very plain, very bland. So think crackers, toast, hot cereal, boiled potatoes, plain rice or pasta, canned fruits that are not in heavy syrup, and also clear liquids. Staying hydrated is going to be really important to remember, and being aware of like fluid losses through vomiting and the lessened desire to drink when you feel nauseous or are vomiting. If you notice you're not drinking enough, remember again that soups, jello, popsicles, ice chips all count, as fluid. And then you want to also make sure that you're avoiding greasy, fatty, fried foods, spicy foods, or even foods with strong odors that can exacerbate the nausea and the vomiting. Oftentimes eating food that is at room temperature can help as well. with the nausea and vomiting, and creating like a calm, peaceful eating environment can be helpful too. Okay, so taste changes can happen and can also be helped by using plastic utensils. So that's something to make sure that you have on hand. You can marinate meats with sweet sauces to enhance the flavor. You can use extra seasoning or flavorings on food to enhance the flavor too. And also drinking lemon flavored drinks to stimulate the saliva can help as well with taste changes. And then keeping the mouth clean is going to be important also. So if constipation is a side effect, then it's going to be important to focus on fiber-rich foods as tolerated and as as tolerated, and then as the texture agrees with you. Because if there's constipation, oftentimes there's other symptoms too. So high fiber foods include fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and psyllium husk if your doctor approves of that. And then again, modifying those textures in a way that agrees with your other with the other nutrition challenges that are happening at the same time. Having adequate fluids. So again, going back to the importance of that, 8 cups of water a day, in addition to, soups, jellos, popsicles can help with constipation. And then again, exercise is tolerated anytime you're moving, you're kind of stimulating, the GI tract, and which will encourage regular bowel movements. So if diarrhea is a concern, then you almost kind of want to do the opposite of what you're doing with if you have constipation. So you want to limit the fiber by avoiding raw fruits, vegetables, seeds, fruits with seeds and with the skin, especially broccoli, cauliflower, corn, the legume group, and also cabbage. In addition to avoiding fried and greasy foods, you really want to stick with the bland foods. So think white rice, breads, crackers, bananas, applesauce, plain meats as tolerated, smooth peanut butter, so not the crunchy one, and then canned fruits and veggies. And then you want to make sure that you do stay hydrated to make up for the fluid losses. So if intervention isn't done, to address these challenges, and the risks really could be harmful and cause long-term challenges that get in the way of complete healing and recovery. Since healing and recovery are the goals, and providing your body with the necessary nutrients needed to support those goals are so important. It can really be done if intervention is done quickly, right? So some of the risks of untreated challenges include malnutrition, prolonged recovery and healing process, dehydration, infections, anemia, muscle breakdown or muscle wasting, and then tissue breakdown too. So some other tips to keep in mind are that, to really consider and, have an open mind about using nutrition supplements if food is just, if it's really difficult, to do real food, at least for a short period of time until you can kind of work your way back up to, a normal diet, to create a peaceful ambiance to support positive eating experience, right? So even not during treatment, how when you eat and there's a lot of chaos going on, it kind of prevents you from being able to have a calm and peaceful eating experience. And then reaching out for friends and family, for support in whatever capacity that is, whether it's with meal prep, whether it's just to, talk on the phone for support, whether it's, helping out at home, transportation. It's really important to reach out and to utilize those people that you have in your lives. So we're going to do a smoothie demo, and it's going to be high in calorie, high in protein, rich in antioxidants, and also rich in phytochemicals. It can be used as part of a meal. It can be used as a part of a snack, depending on what your particular nutrition needs are. but it's a good place to start. And a lot of the ingredients can be swapped out for something else depending on taste preference. But we're gonna do that right now. Do you want to do questions now, or should we do it at the end after the demo?
Well, we can see if any questions come in, but why don't we go ahead and do the demo first, and that'll give people more opportunity to formulate their questions. So please put those into the chat box, and I'll be monitoring those and placing and actually posing them to Marissa at the end.
Okay, great. So the ingredients for this recipe include a bottle of cold Ensure Plus. And the reason why I say cold is because these guys are sold on the shelf and they taste a lot better when they're cold as opposed to warm. So we're going to be doing that. And then we are also going to be using Greek yogurt. We're going to be using some frozen blueberries. We're going to be using a handful of spinach. This is pre-washed, already in a bag, so that saves time. A couple tablespoons of flaxseed ground. We're going to be using a couple tablespoons of almond butter, and then also a whole banana. So pretty simple. You know, it's a good idea if you're planning on doing this, you know, to make sure that you plan ahead of time and just make sure that you have all of your ingredients on hand. That makes it a lot easier. It's perfectly fine to use frozen fruit. If you have bananas that are close to being like bad, then you can just put them in a Ziploc and throw them in the freezer. I do that a lot. And then we'll have it for next time. Ground flaxseed, it takes a while for it to expire. And so that's a good one to always have on hand. Greek yogurt is going to give additional protein as well as calories if you use a full fat one. And then almond butter is going to give you your plant-based protein as well as some fat and extra calories. And I should say that the Ensure Plus is higher in calories and protein than the regular Ensure. And it has lots of vitamins and minerals too. The benefit of using that is that you get more calories and more protein from that supplement than if you were just to use milk or water. Okay, so everything's in there. We're going to blend it up. And that's what it looks like after. And we're also going to top it with some whipped cream. Fun. And then you have your nutrition supplement, high calorie, high protein, phytochemical, antioxidant rich drink. Like I said, you're welcome to swap out the ingredients for similar calorie density, depending on your taste preferences. So that is all. These are the resources if anybody's interested. And I'm happy to answer some questions.
Okay, so we definitely have them there's a couple in the chat. And by the way, that smoothie looks amazing. I were there in person so that we could all sample it.
I know, next time.
It almost feels sinful to add that whipped cream, but I'm sure that the calories there are so important as well, and to make it appetizing. But we do have a question asking, you said milk and dairy is a carbohydrate. You also said it is a protein.
Mm-hmm.
So is it both, or should we consider it more carb or protein?
Great question. Yeah, so a lot of foods are going to be both. And in the case of milk, it is considered a carbohydrate and also protein. Just like legumes. Legumes are technically considered plant-based protein, but they have carbohydrate in them as well.
Can we say the same thing for that whipped cream? Is that a protein that just went on top of that smoothie?
I don't know about that. maybe a little bit.
Okay. We also have a question here that said, I recently read that turmeric can be healing for the skin. I have eczema also, get irritation or get irritated on my skin because of a pick dressing on my upper right arm. Are there any liquid turmeric supplements you'd recommend? Maybe Mary Ruth Organics? Or is it okay to add raw to my smoothies if I have a sensitive digestion?
Yeah, great question. So I'm sure it comes in liquid. That would be something that I would ask your oncologist to make sure that that's okay. They have it in powder, which I've used before in smoothies. And like you said, raw. So I think it would be fine to add to the smoothies. But definitely, double check with your oncologist. A lot of times, if you purchase anything from online that's liquid or pill form, the concentration could be a lot higher than what's recommended. So if you have a particular one in mind, the particular dose, if you're thinking about taking it orally, just ask your oncologist.
We just want to thank Beach Cities Health District again for introducing us to Marissa and allowing for her to present, for us to do this in collaboration. But thank you, Marissa. We really appreciate it. The information is great. The smoothie looked amazing.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.